Hey guys, it's Kylie here with Kylie's Canine Boot Camp, and today's video I'm going to go over the off switch / break command. I use break. I hear some other people may use off or free, or what you can use whatever you want, doesn't really matter. I just use break as the command. So, what is an off switch command, or teaching your dog an off switch? Basically what it is breaking them or dismissing them from whatever command you're currently doing or from working. So with my service dogs, I usually teach it to tell them, okay, we're working and now we're not. I won't use it for every single individual command, but I will use it for telling them, okay, we're done working now. I will also use it in training sessions to tell them, okay, we're done training. You can go do whatever you want. That's basically what the break command is. Some people use gear. So for example, you'll see a lot of dogs that are trained based off the vest. So when you put the vest on the service dog, it's in work mode, and when it's taken off, it's in play or do whatever you want mode. Or when you're at work, you should be working, and when you're not at work, you're doing whatever you want. That's basically what you're teaching the dog. It just makes things a lot more clear to the dog. If you tell your dog to heel and then the dog starts getting distracted and starts breaking that heel, and then you have to keep telling them to heel over and over again, this will help to make it clear, okay, I've given the heel command, and until you hear me say break, you are not done heeling. Or when I tell you to stay, until you hear the word break, you are not done staying. That's basically what you're teaching them. It just makes it a lot more clear for the dog. And I like to keep my training very clear for the dog. It just makes it a lot easier on them. They're not guessing what you're wanting. They make a lot less mistakes when the training is very clear. So that's what I like to do with my dogs. So I'm going to go over how to teach this to your dog. It's very, very simple, very, very easy, and it should be taught from a very young age. So we'll go over this. So first I'll go over it with toys. This is Mazikeen's favorite toy. It's a volcano with a bunch of dinosaurs inside of it that she can pull out. I need to get her more of these types of toys because she absolutely loves this thing. And I do recommend it for anyone that's looking for new toy suggestions. This thing, I think it's Outward Hound. Well, the tag's ripped off, so I don't know. But yeah, so I'll show you with a toy first. So, Mazikeen, here. Come on. Here, good girl. Here. Good girl, sit. Left. Left. Yeah, good girl. Break. That's it. And I prefer to start this with using toys that will keep their attention for a little bit instead of them wanting to bring it back. So if your dog knows how to play fetch, and they typically do that with a ball, I wouldn't use a ball to get them to go away because they're going to want to bring it right back to you. I like to use toys that will kind of keep their attention for a minute, and then they completely forgot that we were just training. This will eventually start to help them understand, oh, this means I can go and do what I want. Mazikeen runs off 99% of the time when I say break. And I don't mean like is running away from me in the sense that I will never catch her. She just runs, or more so trots like a horse, a very beautiful, graceful horse, in the opposite direction of me. And then she'll stop about 10 feet ahead of me and look back and be like, you're still there, right? Yes. So that's how you would start it with toys. You're basically just telling them, go wherever you want once I dismiss you. That's it. Very simple to teach, and as long as you repeat it, they should pick up on it pretty quickly. You basically do the same thing with treats. You just throw the treat in the opposite direction of you so that they'll run off and do their own thing. Some dogs won't learn it this way because they think they have to bring it back to you. That's not really, I mean, it happens. Some dogs just don't learn the same way. Another way to teach the break command, she's still playing with her toy. Another way to teach the break command is to ignore them after you're done training. So you just say break and walk away from them. Yep, yep. Good girl. Sit. Break. She went for the dinosaurs. But you could just ignore them when you're done training. So like for Gage, I could throw a treat. He's just going to come right back to you to get another treat. He's not I wouldn't say a dog is dumb for doing that, but Gage is extremely intelligent when it comes to getting what he wants, which is usually food. So for him, doing that with treats would have never worked. So what I had to do instead was, I've always used a treat jar that unscrews, then you put the lid back on and you screw it back. You want your volcano? Here, go get it. So what I would always have to do with him is close the jar and tell him to break, and then I would just have to ignore him. He would follow me around for a little bit, and then eventually he'd just be like, oh, we're not doing it anymore. Because if I would have thrown a treat, he would have just come right back and asked for more, and he would have stayed engaged with me instead of understanding that once I said break, we're done training, you can go off and do whatever you want. I'm sorry if this is distracting. Apple TV gives you very pretty views when it's not active. But yeah, so with Gage, just throwing the treat would have never worked, and he never really had much interest in toys when he was younger. He liked the ball, but that was the same issue. He would just bring the ball back to you so you could throw it again, and he didn't have an interest in any other toys. He just really only played fetch, and that stopped around 5 years old. So that's basically it. That's how you teach it. It's a very simple command to teach. I strongly recommend it. That's going to be a very odd cut of me being back here to being up here, but sorry. So yeah, I definitely recommend using this command. It makes things much more clear for your dog. I do not like to rely on gear to tell my dog when they're working and when they're not. A command is just much more reliable. I could forget the command, but I just don't. And I've forgotten her vest so many times. I've forgotten his vest when he was working so many times. There's a lot of times where they're just working with a leash and collar. So I don't like to rely on gear because I'm gonna forget it. Plus, this way, you don't have to put the vest on every time you're doing literally anything where you want the dog to be engaged with you. Another thing that I do with the break command is when I'm on walks, I'll use it then too to kind of get them engaged and disengaged. It really keeps their mind working as it's already working outside, and it exhausts them even more. So when you come back, you have time to do whatever you need to do while they sleep. So on walks, I'll say heel. And when I'm telling her to heel, she should be pretty engaged with me, giving me a good amount of eye contact. I don't ask for constant eye contact, but just check-ins, as I like to call them, which basically is just her looking back at me every couple minutes to make sure everything's okay, because some of her alerts and stuff are visual. She has to see them. She can also a lot of times hear them because, so for when my leg is shaking, a lot of times my foot will tap on the ground, so she can hear that. Or if my pants are noisy, she can hear it. Or when I'm scratching, she can usually hear it because scratching makes sound, so she can hear when I'm doing it. But she can respond faster if she can see before it gets to, for leg shaking, before it gets to a point that I'm actually shaking my legs. And for my hands, I'll mess with them a lot too when I'm nervous. And she has to see that because it's not usually going to make any noise except for when I'm doing this, which she doesn't alert to because I'm not usually doing that out of tics. But yeah, so she can't hear me when I'm messing with my hands a whole lot. She might be able to hear it a little bit, but not anything compared to me scratching or shaking my leg with tennis shoes that are hitting hardwood ground or concrete or whatever I'm in or standing on. I can't think today. But so yeah, some of her alerts are more visual. She could use her other senses, but it also kind of depends on the situation. So I asked her to just check in every once in a while. For the most part, her alerts mostly rely on scent and hearing, not as much of the visual aspect. So I don't need constant eye contact from her, and I don't need her to be looking at me at all times. She can look to see where she's going, and I think it makes her more comfortable that she's allowed to kind of look at her surroundings instead of having to pay attention to what I'm doing, and just fully trust me in what's going on around her. She does trust me, but I mean, even if it was me, if it was someone that I trust 100%, I would prefer to be able to see for myself what's going on around me, so I don't blame her. She's just more comfortable. She can look and smell what's going on around her on her own. Yeah, so basically what I do on walks is I just tell her to heel and then break and then heel and then break, so you'll see her healing and being perfect, and then me telling her to break and she'll go to the end of the leash. she is never, ever, ever allowed to pull me if she is on a leash. She can be off leash, and I do have her off leash sometimes, so she can go as far as she wants. And if I see her getting too far for me to be comfortable, I have a command for that as well, to basically tell her to stop and wait for me, and she will. So, or I can always just recall her back to me and put her back in a heel and then tell her to break again. Obviously, just like with every other command, you want to start teaching this in your home with very little to no distractions for the dog, and then you'll work up to using it on walks and then out in public if your dog is a service dog in training that is in a state that allows service dogs in training in public, or in pet-friendly places. That's when that would be like the highest level of distractions. So that's when you want to start. You want to start home and then walk around your area, and then maybe even a walk around a more high distraction area that you know of, and then stores, pet friendly if your dog does not have any right to be in non-pet friendly places, and non-pet friendly places if your dog is a service dog in training or service dog in a state that allows service dogs in training. Everywhere in the U.S. allows fully trained service dogs. Whew. So yeah, I think that's everything. It's really a super basic and easy command to teach. It's no big deal. I think anyone could teach it, and I highly recommend it. So yeah, that's everything. If you guys want, you can follow us on Instagram at Kylie's Service Canines, or on Facebook at Kylie's Canine Boot Camp, or here. You can message me on either of those. I have never not responded that I know of, so I will respond to you, and if you leave a comment, I will try to respond to you. I don't think I've missed a comment. I think I've responded or at least hearted all comments. I try to keep up with them, but yeah, I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and I'm happy to talk to any of you guys. I get a lot of great questions and a lot of people that are really just wanting help with their animal, and I'm so happy to help you guys. So thank you guys for all of the support, and we'll see you next time I'm able to get another video up.